And I recognize my fellow Ways and Means classmate, the gentleman from Wichita, Mr. Estes.
Well, thank you, Chairman Byer. From the beginning of the health crisis, we were told that vaccines and herd immunity were the keys to reopening the economy. Now that we have multiple vaccines and two more in phase 3 trials, we're moving forward with that. And having 180 million people, Americans that have already received at least one dose of the vaccine, and a vaccination rate of 78% of those over 65. What I hear in my district in Kansas is that, when can we get back to life? A lot of businesses have suffered, children falling behind in school, and a lot of people have lost their jobs. We have done a mixed review or mixed results maybe in terms of vaccinations within the state. Specifically, we've done a good job vaccinating seniors and now reaching out to all adults, but we've ranked 35 in the country out of swiftly administering the vaccinations that have been given to us. The Operation Warp Speed, as mentioned earlier, and some smart investments. The United States were able to develop this vaccine in record time, and the Trump administration purchased over 800 million doses, which has set things up now and into the Trump administration and with the current administration for success. Although experts repeatedly said we wouldn't have a vaccine by the end of 2020, they were wrong. Tomorrow, 26 states will expand vaccine eligibility to all adults, and by May 1st, all states will have open eligibility. But instead of focusing on COVID relief to help get the economy going, some of the discussions and some of the bills, like the rescue plan, has very little funding for vaccine distribution efforts, and instead spends a lot of money bailing out states, again, taking away from that federalism mindset. Even Political Fact, which is not known for a conservative point of view, has admitted that the American Rescue Plan isn't a COVID-19 package. And I quote that at the end, direct COVID-19 spending spends about 8.5% of the bill's $1.9 trillion cost. Instead of backing big government spending initiatives, we should focus on crushing the virus, kickstarting the economy, and getting Americans back to work. By implementing pro-growth policies to help American businesses, such as R&D expensing, which is going to be expired in this year. We need to make it permanent in order to make some of the jobs back in America. I do want to ask a couple of questions of Dr. Tabarrok. Although through Operation Warp Speed, the vaccine testing and production was able to be conducted in tandem and in a more streamlined manner. How can we formalize or codify this process to help make sure that we minimize some severe economic impacts in the future?
Yeah, so I think one of the silver linings to the crisis is that it's shown that FDA delay can also be very, very costly, right? So people are seeing for the first time that the longer the FDA takes to approve, whether it's a vaccine or a drug or something like that, can have a real consequence in terms of people dying of COVID or some other disease. This is also true for cancer. This is also true for heart disease. This is true for all of the products that go through the FDA. It now costs over $1 billion to get the typical new drug approved. And we need to find some way of reducing that to have more experimentation and more new drugs, because new drugs absolutely do save lives. So if we can find a way of using our experience from COVID to accelerate FDA approvals across the range, I think that would be tremendously beneficial to American patients.
Well, that's great. That kind of leads into another thought I had around, the breakthrough that we had with mRNA technology really did allow us to develop the vaccine very quickly. Are there things that we can do, incentives, such as improving R&D expensing or genius prizes, some of those so-called genius prizes, that would help us make breakthroughs in the future?
Yeah, so 2 points. Going back to one of the earlier questions which was asked is, what about if COVID becomes endemic? Well, one consequence of that is that every investment we make now is going to have a very long payoff. So that's great. So this increases our incentive to invest in mRNA technology, which is capable of not just producing vaccines, but is also capable of producing drugs to treat cancer and heart disease and so forth. So I think all of these things are a great way to invest. R&D expensing may be certainly a part of that. And prizes. Yeah, I do think that prizes should be looked at more. The pre-market purchases, the advanced market commitments which we made for Pfizer, promising we're going to buy hundreds of millions of these doses, that's very similar to a prize. And that worked very well at incentivizing Pfizer to invest billions of dollars in factories, which is now paying off now.
Yeah, thank you very much. And Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Yeah, thank you.